everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on Building Material and Construction 18 CV34. Myself, Professor Vijayalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, KLS VDIT, Haliyar. So let's start with the today's discussion on the second module, that is lecture number 16. So these are the course content covered in this lecture. Terms used in the brick masonry, characteristics and the requirement of good masonry, which will be discussed in this lecture. So after that, what is the learning outcome? So after this lecture, the student will have a better understanding of different terms used in the brick masonry, characteristics and requirements of good brick masonry, which is provided in the construction field of different types of structure. So these fall under the Bloom's taxonomy L1 and L2. These are the course content covered in the previous lecture. Introduction to the D foundation, pile foundation, pier foundation and well foundation and its different types, and what is the necessity of providing such type of foundation was discussed. So let's start with the today's discussion on the masonry. So we'll come across the different types of masonry work. Depending upon the type of the building unit used, masonry have following types: stone masonry, brick masonry, hollow concrete block masonry, reinforced brick masonry and composite brick masonry. So before going for the various forms of the brick masonry is made up of brick unit bonded together with the mortar. Two essential components of the brick masonry are bricks and the mortar. The mortar used for brick masonry should have some characteristics. Mortar act as a cementing material and the units individual brick unit together to act as a homogeneous mass. The different types of mortars can be used in the brick masonry: cement mortar, lime mortar, cement lime mortar, lime surki mortar and mud mortar. So here mud mortar is used only for the low-rise buildings which carry light load. Cement mortars are used for high-rise building where strength is of prime importance. Lime mortar and lime surki mortars are used for all types of construction activity. Bricks are manufactured by molding clay in a rectangular block of uniform predetermined size, drying them and then burning them in a kiln. Clay is a plastic earth material consisting largely of sand and alumina with traces of chalk, iron, manganese dioxide, etc. Good bricks shall thoroughly burnt so that it become hard and durable in nature. So here satisfactory burning of the brick is essential to get a hard ringing sound when two bricks are stuck each other. The brick should be free from cracks, chips and large particle of time. The strength of the brick masonry depends on the quality of the brick, quality of the mortar, method of bonding unit. So unbonded wall or even constructed with good quality bricks and good quality mortar have little strength and stability. The brick masonry is preferred over other types of masonry due to the following reason. So all the bricks are of uniform size and shape and hence they can be laid in any definite pattern. Brick units are light in weight and small in size. Hence these are easily be handled by bricklayers by hand. Brick does not need any dressing. The art of bricklaying can be understood easily even by an unskilled mason and can do the brick masonry work. Stone masonry construction requires highly skilled labor. Bricks are easily available in all sites, unlike stones which are available only at the quarry site. Due to this, there does not require transportation from one long distance. Ornamental work can be easily done with the brick. Light partition wall and filler walls can be easily constructed in brick masonry. So the different types of bricks can be used for the masonry construction: traditional brick and the modular brick. Traditional brick are those which does not have standard size. The dimension of the traditional brick vary from place to place. Their length varies from 20 to 25 centimeter, width varying from 10 to 13 centimeter, and width varying from 10 to 13 centimeter, and thickness vary from 5 centimeter to 7.5 centimeter. The commonly adopted nominal size of the traditional brick is 23 by 11.4 by 7.6 centimeter. So modular brick conform to the size laid down by the Bureau of Indian Standard. Any brick which is of same uniform size as laid down by the Bureau of Indian Standard is known as modular brick. The nominal size of the modular brick is 20 by 10 by 10 centimeter, while the actual size of the brick is 19 by 9 by 9 centimeter. Nominal size include mortar thickness. Masonry modular bricks are essential and are economical to the manufacture, require less area for drying, stacking, and require less brickwork for the same surface area of the wall in comparison to the conventional bricks. The masonry with modular brick work out to be cheaper. So some bricks are classified based on the quality of the construction, that is depending on the classes: first class, second class, and third class brick. So next is what are the different various forms of the brick which are used in the construction. So in this case you will come across different terms here. Structure. A structure is the longer face of the brick, that is 19 by 9 as seen in the elevation of the wall. The course of brick in which all the bricks are laid as a structure on facing is known as structure or the stretching course. So in case of header, the second term is the header. The header is the shorter face of the brick, that is 9 centimeter by 9 centimeter as seen in the elevation of the wall. The course of bricks in which all the bricks are laid as header on the facing is known as header course or the heading course. So here different terms can be used. First one is the half bat, 3/4 bat, quarter closer, king closer, queen closer. So here what do you mean by the closer? It is the portion of the brick with the cut made longitudinally and is used to close up bond at the end of the course. The courser helps in preventing the joints of successive courses, higher or the lower, to come in the vertical line. Courses may be of various types. So it is the nothing but the portion of the brick with the cut made longitudinally and is used to close up bond at the end of the course. Queen closer. So it is the portion of the brick obtained by cutting a brick lengthwise. So you can see in the queen closer, that is in the fourth figure, that is in the fifth figure, it is the portion of the brick which is obtained by cutting a brick lengthwise into two portions. Thus a queen closer is a brick which is half as wide as the full brick. This is also known as queen closer half. When a queen closer is broken into two pieces, it is known as queen closer quarter. Such a closer is thus a brick piece which is 1/4 of the brick size. So it can be defined as it is the portion of the brick obtained by cutting a brick along the lengthwise into two portions. Next is the perpend. So here perpend is an imaginary vertical line which includes the vertical joint separating two adjacent joints, two adjacent bricks. So it is defined as a perpend is an imaginary vertical line which includes the vertical joint separating two adjoining bricks. Bed. So what do you mean by the bed? It is the lower surface 19 centimeter by 9 centimeter of the brick which laid flat. Then next is the what do you mean by the lap? Lap is the horizontal distance between the vertical joint of successive brick cores. So it is the horizontal distance. It is the horizontal distance between the vertical joints of successive brick courses. Now next is the queen closer. So in this figure you can see here queen closer I have explained. Next you come across the different terms, that is half bat, 3/4 bat, quarter closer, king closer. So in case of half bat, 3/4 and quarter closer. So bat is the portion of the brick cut across the width. Thus a bat is a smaller in length than the full brick. If the length of the brick is equal to half the length of the original brick, it is known as half bat. The 3/4 bat is the one having its length equal to 3/4 of the length of the full brick. If a bat has its width beveled, it is known as beveled bat. So if it is beveled, it is known as beveled bat. So it is defined as, the bat can be defined as the portion of the brick which is cut across the width. So next is the king closer, that is the fourth one. You can see in this slide. It is the portion of the brick which is cut that the width of one its end is half that of the full brick, while the width at the other end is equal to the full width. Thus it is obtained by cutting the triangular piece between the center of one end and the center of the other side. It has half header and half stretcher face. So it is the portion of, so the king closer can be defined or it can be explained. It is the portion of the brick which is so cut that the width of one its end is half that of the full brick, while the width at the lower at the width at the other end is equal to the full width. So you can see the beveled closer. What do you mean by the beveled closer? So it is the special form of a king closer in which the whole length of the brick is beveled in such a way that half width is maintained at one end and full width is maintained at the other end. So you can see in this figure, half width is maintained at one end and full width is maintained at the other end. So these are the broken pieces of the beveled closer, that is the triangular portion of the brick on the top surface of the brick. So in case of beveled closer, you can see the two triangular portion which is cut, and in the one more sketch you can see the full brick. All the things are shown in the same brick. Bed with the frog, structure course, that is structure 1, and what is header. So it is the shorter side of the or the end face of the brick, whereas the structure the longer side or the face of a brick. So they have given about the bed on the underside. So next is the throw stone. So here you can see in this figure, so how the throw stones are used in the construction activity. So a throw stone is a stone header. Throw stones are placed across the wall at a regular interval. If the thickness of the wall is small, throw stones may be of length equal to the full width of the wall. The wall is considerably thick. Two throw stones with an overlap are provided as you see in this figure. Throw stones should be strong and non-porous and should be of sufficient thickness. So here the throw stones are placed across the wall at regular interval. If the thickness of the wall is small, throw stones may be of length equal to the full width of the wall. So next is the sill. It is the bottom surface of the door or the window opening is known as the sill. So it is can be defined as the bottom surface of the door or a window opening is known as a sill. Sill is thus the horizontal member of the brick, stone, concrete or wood provided to give support for the vertical member of the opening and also the shed of rainwater from the face of the wall immediately below the opening. Sill stones when provided are so dressed that they prevent the entry of the water into the interior of the building. So next is the plinth. It is the horizontal projecting course of a stone or a brick provided at the base of the wall above the ground level. The plinth rises the level of the ground floor above the natural ground level, thus protecting the building from rain, water, frost and other weathering effect. So it can be defined as the horizontal projecting course of stone or a brick which is provided at the base of the wall above the ground level. Plinth rises the level of the ground floor above the natural ground level, thus protecting the building from rainwater, frost and other weathering condition. So you can see here stringing course. It is a continuous horizontal course. You can see in this figure it is a continuous horizontal course it is a continuous horizontal course of a masonry projecting from the face of the wall. For shedding rainwater off the face, it is generally provided at every floor and sill level. The string course break the monotony of the plane surface and thus impart aesthetic appearance to the structure. The string course is thus the string course is a suitably weathered and thrown so as to throw off the water clear the wall surface. So it can be defined as a continuous horizontal course of masonry projecting from face of the wall for shedding rainwater off the face. So it is generally provided at every floor and sill level. String course breaks the monotony of the plane surface and thus impart aesthetic appearance to the structure. The string course is generally weathered and thrown so as to throw off water clear of the wall surface. So next, jambs and rivets. So jambs are the vertical sides of a finished opening for the door, window or fireplace. Jambs may be plain or splayed or may be provided at the recess to receive the frame of the door and the window. Next is the rivel. So these are the exposed vertical surface left on the side of the opening after the door or the window frame has been fitted in the position. So you can see here jambs and rivets. So how these components are situated. Next is the corbel and cornice. So in case of corbel, it is the projecting stone which is usually provided to serve as support for the joist, truss, weather shed, etc. The corbels are generally molded and thus it give a ornamental treatment. Corbels should extend at least two-thirds of the length to the wall so that you can see here corbel and cornice. It is the projecting stone which is usually provided to serve as a support for the joist, truss, weather shed, etc. Corbels are actually it is generally which is provided, molded and given a ornamental treatment. Corbels should extend at least two-thirds of their length to the wall so that they does not turn or come out of the wall. Next is the cornice. So in this slide you can see here it is the projecting ornamental course near the top of the wall or at the junction of the wall and the ceiling. So it is the projecting ornamental course near the top of the wall or at the junction of the wall and the ceiling. It penetrates the full width of the wall. It is weathered and throated to dispose of the rainwater. In order to prevent overturning of the cornice, extra weight in the form of parapet wall should be provided. So this is one of the important concept during the construction. So next is the coping, throating and weathering action. So here coping is the covering of the stone, concrete, brick. It is the covering of the stone, concrete, brick of terracotta placed on the terracotta which is placed on the exposed top of the wall. To prevent seepage of the water, it may be provided on the top of the compound wall. So the coping, it may be explained as, it may be defined as, it is the covering of the stone, concrete or the brick of terracotta placed on the exposed top of the wall. To prevent the seepage of the wall, may be used so it may be also provided on the top of the compound wall. The coping is suitably weathered and throated. You can see in this figure how it is provided. Next is the weathering and the throating. So in case of weathering, it is the term used to denote the portion of the slope on the upper side or the upper surface. So it is the term used to denote the portion of the slope on the upper surface as sill, cornice, stringing course, coping, etc. You can see in this figure how the weathering has to be provided, or what you mean by the weathering. It is the term used to denote the portion of the slope. It is denoted. It is the term used to denote the provision of the slope on the upper surface or as a sill, cornice, stringing course, coping. So next is the throating. You can see in this figure, it is groove provided on the underside of the projecting elements such as sill, cornice, canopy, etc. so that rainwater uh, can be distributed clear of the wall surface. So here the throating, it is the groove provided on the underside of the projecting elements such as so as I explained, it is the groove provided on the underside of the projecting element such as sill, cornice, coping, etc. so that rainwater can be discharged clear at the clear of the wall surface. You can see in this figure how this is provided. Next is the toothing. So toothing is another concept which is used in the construction activity. These are the bricks which is left projecting in alternate course for the purpose of bonding future masonry work. So it can be defined as the bricks which are left projecting in the alternate course for the purpose of bonding future masonry work. So you can see here how it is provided. So next is the parapet wall. So it can be defined as a portion which is provided above the roof level. Next is the arch. So what do you mean by the arch? So it is a inverted U-shaped structure. It is a structural construction of the masonry constructed by mechanical arrangement of wedge shaped blocks of stone or brick arranged in the form of curve supporting wall or, or load above the opening or the load above the opening. So before going for the requirements of the brick masonry, what do you mean by the lintel? It is nothing but the horizontal member of the stone, brick, wood, steel or reinforced cement concrete which is used to support the masonry or superimposed load above any opening. So what are the requirements of the good bricks? So use bricks of good quality with uniform color, well burnt with exact size and shape. Before using the brick in the masonry, they should be soaked in water for 2 hours so that the brick does not absorb the water from the mortar. Bricks should be laid in such a way that the bricks should be laid with the frog pointing upward. Construction of the brick wall should start from the end or the corner. Brick courses should be perfectly horizontal. So here, verticality of the wall should be ensured by frequently checking with the plumb bob. Mortar used should be as per the specification of Indian standard. Whenever work is stopped, brick masonry should be left with the truth edge. Use of brick bats should be avoided. Wall should be raised uniformly. In no case difference between the adjoining wall be more than 1 meter. In a day, number of wall, that is no wall should be raised by more than 1.5 meter. So that is the minimum height in a day. To get proper key for plastering and pointing, the face joint should be raised to a depth of 12 to 20 mm when the mortar is green in color. If plastering or pointing is not to be provided, face joint should be stuck, flushed and finished neatly. Holdfast for the doors and windows should be embedded in the brick masonry with cement mortar or the concrete at the time of constructing the wall itself. Next is the what are the different means why the brick masonry can be provided under which condition. It should be regularly curved for or it means it should be regularly cured for 2 weeks. For carrying out brickwork at a higher level, only single scaffolding should be used. So next is the characteristic of brick masonry. Bricks should be uniform in color, size, shape. Standard size of the brick should be maintained. It should be sound and compact. It should not be free from other cracks and other faults such as bulbs, stone nodules, etc. with a sharp or the square edge. So it should be laid to absorb more than 1/5 of their own weight of the water. So brick should not absorb more than 1/5 of its own weight of the water when it is immersed in water for 24 hours. The compressive strength of the brick should be in the range of 2000 to 5000 psi, that is 15 to 35 megapascal. Salt attack happens, it will hamper the durability of the brick. So the presence of excess soluble salt in the brick, it is called as efflorescence. The percentage of soluble salt. So here the percentage of soluble salt the percent of the soluble salts, sulfates of calcium, magnesium, sodium and potassium. It should not exceed 2.5% of the burnt brick. The brick should not change its volume when it is wetted or when it is immersed in water. The brick should neither overburnt or underburnt. The weight per brick should be 6 lbs and the unit weight should be less than 125 lbs per cubic feet. So the thermal conductivity of the brick, it should be low, as it is desirable that the building built with them should be cool in summer and warm in winter. The brick should be soundproof and it should be non-flammable and incombustible. The brick should be free from lime. So this is the summary of the today's lecture. Brick masonry is a highly durable form of construction. It is built by placing the bricks in the mortar in a systematic manner to construct a solid mass that withstand exerted load. The bond in brickwork it should be the bond in the brickwork which adhere bricks together is produced by filling joints between the bricks with a suitable mortar. The features of masonry include design flexibility, various texture, structural strength, mold resistance, durability. The feature of the brick masonry should include design flexibility, various texture, structural strength, mold resistance, durability, simple maintenance need and its cost. So, as I told, brick masonry is highly durable form of construction. It is built by placing the bricks in the mortar in a systematic manner to construct a solid mass that withstand exerted load. So this is the summary of the today's lecture. So you have learnt about the various terms used in the brick masonry construction, about the requirements of the brick masonry and about the characteristics of the brick masonry. So these are the reference links provided below. You can go through it. Thank you.